like after what Terminal Wetness said. Now 1-800-MIX-A-LOT. But also, if you feel, chat, if you feel ignored, if I haven't responded to you enough today, or if I haven't said hi to you, just say hi in chat, and I'll say hi back. What's up, Roush and Cat? How are you? I'm good on the Advanced World Gen. I tend to just make infinite crashing loops, and then chat gets mad at me when I do that. Also, hello, Abstract. Cathode. Jezza. Saving takes up to 4 minutes, so over a 5-6 hour stream. Ad breaks take longer. Yeah, I mean, like, there was one instance of ridiculously long saving that we had, and that was Waterlungs, where I had that weird thing where it would save adventure data for like 5 minutes. But, time to abuse your position. Do it! What are we abusing on this find? Have we figured out what's wrong with trolls yet? Where'd the trolls go? We need you to feed the trolls, Putnam. I haven't seen trolls in so long. Even the rat's forgotten. Elfie, thanks for gifting a sub to Putnam. Seriously, like, the rat's forgotten. That's how long. It's time to check Discord. What's happening on Discord? Oh, wow. You're not wrong about abusing your position. What's up?
Nothing.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
let's see if my like Discord settings are correct. I think they are. We just turn down the sound of the game, otherwise it's gonna be like deafening you.
Yeah, well, and there's also the echo for the stream, so I'm just muting that.
Impromptu chat. We're just generating worlds because.
Oh no, that's why I joined.
Setting
that's
stuff
why
up.
I did this. Seems like a good time. So the trolls thing, we actually figured that out.
Oh, did you?
That's good. Yeah. The goblin sites weren't going underground, so they just didn't have trolls. Oh
wow.
No.
They literally went extinct. My theory was correct.
But yeah, apparently this has been a thing since 50.01, I guess. I don't know. They ended up this might also be why, like, in the adventure mode tests, goblin sites were fast. Well, it turns out, if you look at the wiki, you'll find that it claims that they're slow because of trolls. So so we're probably gonna have to take a second look at that.
Yeah, because, like, well, one of the things that used to happen in, like, Goblin Towers is you'd end up in an area that was just packed with goblins and trolls, and then all the goblins would, like, immediately ask the trolls who they were, and then the trolls were unable to respond because they can't speak, and then they would all kill the trolls. Is also something I used to encounter in adventure mode pretty frequently.
Yeah, identify yourself, and
Who are
they got
you?
Kill neutral. They got kill neutral required, so if they can't, then
yeah,
it's over.
They consider them to just be neutral, and so they just stab the trolls' friends to death. So, working on anything fun recently, or do you just want to yell at chat for a bit?
Yeah, it's all, like, trying to, like, slow down on working on anything fun because I keep adding new stuff to things, and it's not good. The big thing since last time is I made Burrows multi-Z designatable again. That's good.
Yay! I'm looking forward to being able to turn that DFAC feature off. Although I've gotten, like, weirdly used to the what's the, like, automatically expanding burrows thing that they added. When's
the flood fill,
that bug fixing patch that was, like, sort of half announced dropping? Any ideas?
I don't know when that is. Like, I can never say that sort of thing.
Yeah, because, like, that just has me curious now as to what's gonna make it into that patch exactly.
It's like in testing, and it's got a lot. It's got a lot going on, so it's best that it be tested and not, like, as soon as we started testing, it turns out to crash on Linux, and like the instant you open it, that sort of thing is not good. I ended up, like, not just I, like, tested it on Linux and Steam Deck and made sure input worked on Steam Deck and all sorts of wonderful things. The input issues on Steam Deck, by the way, are an SDL2 issue, which is really annoying. Like an issue on the SDL2 end. You have to use weird workarounds for it.
I just want to say shoutouts to the roasted butterfly who keep defeating the thrifty confederation of respecting. Because that's just a good series of names. Just looking around at this world. Ooh, we got multiple volcanoes.
I do always like the general way you get like, it's like stop, they're already dead.
They just keep
Like-
attacking and defeating the same place repeatedly.
Yeah, and you check and, well, turns out, if you go there in adventure mode, it's like 2 humans live here, and that explains why they keep attacking the place.
There is a there was a location that I found once, or actually chat found, that was like populated with a demon and like a half dozen goblins, and it just kind of there's like a single dwarven fortress on an island full of goblins. That might be fun.
Oh no.
And they
Too
just
bad it's all salt water.
I mean they got iron.
Probably. Salt water's not that bad.
And you can dig through it. Although, anyway, and that one location was just a fort. Like, it wasn't even a permanent settlement. It was just a fort. And every year, there was something like 1,800 people would die. They were just attacking it because it was getting attacked hundreds of times per year. And the demon that lived there had thousands of kills. And it was the most active war zone in the entire world. It's just kind of nuts just seeing this one fort. It's like everybody's just attacking it. I kind of wish that was in version 47 so you could have just seen it constantly in World Gen.
The absolute control, that's a good name for a ruler. Or not a ruler, probably a force priest. But the only thing that disappoints me about this right now is that, like, I think it shouldn't just show major events, it should show random crap, because there's a lot of things people just don't know about that you will find if you dig in Legends enough, but it's,
I wish
lot of
that
it's
you
just
could
sort of
scroll
really
up
buried.
on the abridged chronicle. Like, the fact that I can't scroll up when I pause it kind of bothers me, because usually I'll go to pause it, and then I'll go to, like, oh man, by the time it's paused, like, the thing I kind of did want to read is, like, gone.
That's probably doable. Probably not this moment, though, but still gotta...
Dreams of the Gorlak was created. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's showing, like, big events, and a rock just died, that sort of thing.
The play of bone of the Cat of Scratches. The Cat of Scratches. I don't know what that is, but also
like, all these super important things, but I want to learn about, like, someone making good money on real estate, or, gambling away their...
You want to look up the 31st Eurist for no particular reason.
Or at least I wanted to show
after
just
a year.
people gambling horribly or whatever.
It should just have lists of people dying. It's like, so-and-so died, so-and-so died, so-and-so died.
Like, if you go in with DF Hack, you can sort by
Hydro is
account. And accounts are fun to look at.
Because it shows you the amount of wealth that they have, right?
Yeah, and... like, that's mostly abstract now. I think it can be spent on something. I don't know. I haven't looked into it deeply. But
can't they buy land, sort of?
I think so. Like, I know embezzlement gives them a bit of, like, wealth.
Yeah,
and
I know that,
other
like,
corruption tends to do it.
Human locations have, like shop spaces that they can work at and make money and then embezzle funds.
Yeah, and there's, like, noble positions that do nothing that they can buy their way into or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, my last adventure was a noble of nothing.
Highly realistic. Absolute control, absolute twilight. There's a lot of absolutes here.
Mm-hmm. Did that say the destruction of buns, or did I misread that?
Bodes well for Sith. The game, you could probably load it into a SQL database if you want. Like, the XML might be... you could probably do that. I mean, Legends Viewer is sort of just it's putting it into a kind of database, just like a weird
Because like we managed to
one.
completely dodge introductions. Chat room. This is Putnam. Putnam works on Dwarf Fortress, and I've given them a like open invitation to just like barge into my streams whenever. So we're generating worlds, so
Yeah,
it's time to barge into stream.
it's I'm just like thinking of whatever usability thing might be small that I can sneak in during testing, but it's probably
Chat, what's
for
a
the
small
best that I just
usability
let
thing you want? Go.
testing happen. See, it's hard to tell what's small until you actually look into it. I thought the burrow thing was going to be huge, and I feel a bit bad for not checking before now because it wasn't.
Is it like
It
2 lines of
wasn't a
code?
huge change.
I want to be able to put minecart routes into folders because that UI is fucked. And also, for some reason, I can't scroll on the military screen with the mouse wheel. I have to click on the, like, draw bar in order to be
Okay,
able to
I've
move
noticed
the menu.
that. I've
That
noticed the
menu's
scroll
broken.
bar thing.
So some of the inputs
I've
don't
noticed
work on
that.
that menu.
It's in a few places that this is the case, and I don't like that. I've everywhere that like I've added or adjusted scroll menus, I've made it explicitly like if your mouse is in the thing that it's scrolling, then you can scroll it, and that's how it works. And for most of them, you can also like use page up and page down on the keyboard or up and down. And I'm not sure if I missed any, but I don't think I did. Like the kitchen screen, you can go up and down and hit, I don't know what the hotkeys are. I set them to B and C to toggle brewing and cooking and things, that sort of thing. More keyboard support where I can put it. That's all stuff that I'm thinking about too.
It seems like basically everybody in chat's like recently used material.
Recently used it. That's probably a good one.
And again, I have no idea how big of a task that would actually be, but I know that DF Hack has something like that right now.
I'd guess it's about as big a task as what I've already done with all the other stuff so far, which is to say we're too close to release now.
Kai, I'll say the thing that I said the last time somebody brought this one up. Make yourself a where refuse pile, just a refuse pile that's outdoors that is set to all of the where. So you just type in where under item type and put all clothing in it, and then any clothing that I think is double X or bigger, so either double X or bold X, double X, will just automatically get dropped in there, and then they'll disintegrate almost instantly. So, although unless a dwarf is like obsessed over keeping their clothes, because then they'll just store it in their cabinet, and then when they die, it'll automatically go into there.
Well, what's improper about filtering items in the trading window?
You get a lot of false positives. And you also can't filter
unfortunate.
items. You also can't filter items that are in bins.
Right. I do remember this.
Also, you at one like because the stocks menu loading faster is you're doing. Any other way that you can open the stocks menu opens as slow as it used to. So if you go to put an item on a pedestal, like in my last fort, if you put an item on a pedestal, it takes like a minute to load it because I had it was like 80,000 boulders or something in that fort.
Yeah, if people ask why you need to learn about sorting algorithms, that's why.
Yeah.
The stock screen uses whatever the default standard library sort is in C++. It's probably quick sort or Tim sort or something, which is pretty fast. And all the other stuff just does what is, for all intents and purposes, an insertion sort, which can be pretty slow. And there you go.
Also,
Tim sort. Yeah, that makes sense.
I agree with Frog for Hire. We need to be able to be nice to Gorlax.
Do they attack Gorlax by default? I've seen Gorlax just wander in and they don't talk, but they
Gorlax get caught in cage traps and also weapon traps and any other type of trap. So if you have any kind of traps in the caverns, they just get shredded. And also your dogs will attack them if you have hunting or war dogs. So the dwarves don't, but they always end up dying. And because they're wild animals, there's no way for them to really join the fort unless they happen to be part of a performance group.
That all makes that. I mean, traps make sense to me. But, I can see why that's a problem. Dogs sort of also make sense to me, though that's more of a problem. I do think, although like dogs not attacking like random visitors, by comparison, kind of bad, and Gorlax, the like we should be kinder to the Gorlax. Yeah.
I feel like we get adventurers and visitors from the surface. I wish that we could just get adventurers and visitors from underground. And I know that that's probably not easy, because then we'd start getting bards showing up from underground, but like dwarves showing up from underground if you happen to be close to a road underground would make a lot of sense.
I mean, in general, I think more like in the way of interesting visitors would be really nice. It's like, that's something I've been thinking about since like before it was even on the table to be working on the game, that I would like. I mean, that's why like one of the like weird little mods I have is just like dwarves, elves, and humans that just sort of are local populations that can show up and become heroes, like animal people.
Yeah.
And like the dwarves are from underground, but that sort of thing, they just sort of show up and wander about like a Gorlak, and that's about it. And like, it would be nice if there was more of a presence for the weird wilderness stuff, for like diaspora things.
Kashmir,
keyboard entry
anything
stuff.
can
That's
leave through the caverns, but nothing can appear through the caverns, if that makes sense. So like traders can leave through the caverns, visitors can leave through the caverns, thieves can leave through the caverns. That's pretty common, but stuff can't show up and visit from the caverns.
Yeah. On the topic of Fey Moods and cloth, Fey Moods do show the exact type of cloth, but secretive ones don't. And neither do possessions, I think.
If you put a workshop that is mootable into a guild hall, it makes every single artifact into what's the infinitely repeating
Plane Pact?
Plane Pact, yes. Every single artifact becomes that if they're in a guild hall.
Oh, that sounds horrible. I'm
so
have to
figured out how to cause infinite wealth.
That's like a
artifacts.
Yeah, that's a bit of a priority 3, because like, I don't know, it's always kind of funny to.
The Sucker of Lice is a good name. That's
eventually
it.
We might eventually, obviously, like just a sort of DF hack / DF hack tweak / plane pact or something, but would be funny. But the little exploits like that. I mean, putting a shop in a guild hall makes too much sense, though. Like, that's the problem, right?
Yeah, which is why I started doing it, because I was like, oh yeah, that's a logical thing. You throw your 2 Craft Dwarf shops for demonstration purposes or whatever. And
I saw this bug in the beta, during beta testing for 50.01. I did not identify what was causing the plane pact, but my dwarf eventually went insane.
Literally, if you just remove it from the guild hall, it fixes it. Also, I love the way this little dwarven faction has shown up. There's a bunch of elves south. There's humans all the way along the left side, and then the right side is just all these little hillixes along the base of this mountain range.
Monster hunters sitting around and killing stuff in the caverns, that's what they're for. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's literally their only behavior, is they go around.
Like, you might think dragons are monsters, but no, those are too scary. They only signed up for like Drolthas and things. Even giant cave spiders might be a bit too spicy.
Yeah, they're literally going down to fight like cave crocodiles. That's about it.
Yeah, maybe the occasional giant cave ogre. I don't know.
Well, this is.
It is a bit funny that they'll just show up if you have caverns open ever, and like there's no way to avoid them showing up.
Not if you're in a quiet part of the world, but I really like the way this world is generating. This is also really cool down here. Like, we got this serene glacier next to this little.
There's all sorts of range. Little things. I think the outside of obviously crashes and like really annoying bug issues, the UI I do that should be. Like, usability does seem like a really high priority. I'm trying to add filtering and things where it's appropriate. Trade screen seems like a good next step, actually, because there's a lot of things that, being able to filter out things that you're trading, the people you're trading with would not want. or would refuse would be
Howdy,
good, for
fine.
example.
Not on vacation anymore. Don't sure how much I can
Like,
catch.
that seems like
but
something your
excited for
dwarves would
creature
know. Why
keepers.
wouldn't they, roll a die based on their judge of intent skill to see if they'll accept items? That's a bad idea.
Big Bang, thanks for the 3rd month. Welcome back, dude. We'll be doing more creature keepers later tonight. Currently, we are, just having an impromptu chat with Putnam and generating some worlds. Or world. I'll probably do 2, but I'm pretty happy with how this one's looking right now. We got another 100 years to go, though.
You can name saves. You can name save folders, and because it was annoying me, I added the ability to sort by save folder name now.
Yay! That's all I have to say to that.
Yeah, Monster Hunters tend to be serial artifact hoarders too. Slash stealers.
According to YouTube chat, they're having issues with captured beak dogs from sieges not reproducing. You mean soldiers that attacked alongside of goblins, or do you mean ones that you've captured yourself? Because if you capture them from a goblin site, they're already tame. But I'm assuming you mean active siegers, because they're marked as hostile. I don't think there's any way to unmark them as hostile. And if they could reproduce and you had to wait for a siege, then you'd end up also having to fight a bunch of baby ones, which would be a problem.
Not much to be done about that except to remove the flag with TF hack or whatever, which, that might be a problem, but, like, that's just another, another point on the litany of issues with capturing enemies. Like, what do you do with them? Nothing. Throw them in the magma, I don't know.
Yeah, I would really like if, like, say you had X number of, like, captured goblins, if the goblins showed up and they gave you a parlay to give them back the captured goblins, I think that would be really cool, but that would be probably a pretty complicated fix.
Yeah, it is only numpad. You have to use a custom control scheme if you want to play on no numpad keyboards. It's
on current adventure mode, yeah.
Oh no, and well, yeah, current. When you said current, for some reason I thought like 50 adventure mode, but even I haven't played that yet.
That's fair. Yeah, if you're trying to play like version 50, you have to completely rebind the keyboard, which is, I don't even know how to do that in version 47 adventure mode, because you have to be able to move diagonally.
Yeah, well, you can always just go like HJKL and so on.
Yeah, it's not exactly I know that people have pointed that out for years. It's like, yeah, you could just use HJK and L, or, like, you could not. It's like, that is... Ugh. I'm just still amazed that people own keyboards that don't have numpads. But
I think really small, like, tablet keyboards might not, or, like, notepad keyboards, whatever you like, the netbook. I keep forgetting the term for really small laptops.
If you're on a smaller laptop keyboard, that makes sense to me. But if you're at a desktop computer and you don't have a numpad, what are you doing? Why are you trying to game on an iMac?
Do they sell those?
What, like separate numpads?
No, well, I know they sell those, but do they sell keyboards without one? Like full desktop keyboards?
Oh yeah, you can get like short desktop keyboards that like don't have like the F key rows at all, and like it's just the QWERTY. Like, just go look up mini ducky keyboards or something. Like, they absolutely make those. What can you do about ghosts in the fortress? I mean, you can answer this, or I can answer this. It's up to you.
Oh no, you do it.
I mean, you have to memorialize your dead. So either make coffins out of rock, or sarcophaguses out of metal, or coffins out of wood, and then build those coffins in the furniture screen, and then put a tomb zone on top of it, and then wait for them to get memorialized. Or if you don't want to do that, you could make a slab and engrave the name of the dwarf on the slab. I have videos about these subjects on the YouTube channel, but you have to entomb them.
That's a pain point too. That's a thought.
What's a pain point?
Slab engraving, like
Oh, yeah.
it's supposed to show it in order of like ones that need memorialized, then
Ghosts at the top.
like, yeah, it's supposed to do that. It doesn't right now, and I'm not sure why.
Hmm.
I legitimately like it like sorts it by name after doing all that, and I guess that's the problem. I don't know, but I couldn't find the place where it sorts it, so I'm just kind of baffled.
Speaking of slabs, and more specifically, return the slab. I've always like had this dream where if for some reason you happened upon a slab with somebody's name tag on it, it would be like normal for that thing to try and reclaim that slab so that they don't get, booted out of office, right? I'm trying to say this slightly spoiler free, for some reason. I don't know why. I would love it if those creatures could just like show up to try and take the slab back.
I think they try to avoid the slab really, since anyone who has it can just read off of it. And,
True, but you'd think that they would send armies, like maybe not
Also,
them, but like their cronies.
That's fair. What was the
Oh, it's a goblin
really
fortress. This one dwarven fortress got taken over by goblins.
the you said return the slab, and I actually thought that mummies do need a place in fortress mode. Right now they're
Yeah.
adventure mode only.
Like we straight up just we literally have the mummy in Dwarf Fortress, but nobody knows.
Yeah,
It's like, how are you gonna find one in fortress mode? Like, you just don't.
Like, you go to their tomb, it's filled with traps, it's all very Indiana Jones, you steal their thing, a mummy comes out of the wall, it says, I curse you, and then you have a 10% chance of just completely failing any roll for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, I like this world so far. We got some really big rivers.
Crypt comfy crypt beer.
Which is always a good time. Really, thanks for the 14th month. We got lots of goblins. We've got multiple volcanoes. Tons of serene and mirthful areas as well. I mean, obviously they're pretty scattered around. Lots of untamed wilds and terrifying areas too. Seems fun. We even have a little haunted, ocean.
I think serene is easier than. No, serene's not easier than calm, but it's about the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, serene is the calm equivalent. Doesn't necessarily mean it's easier. I think it also depends on what happens to be in the vicinity, right?
Yeah, well, you're not gonna get like unicorns or anything, so it's good.
And then mirthful's slightly bigger animals, and then joyous wilds is the one. Yeah. So there's a mirthful area up here. There is a Joyous Wilds area, but I think it might be specifically on an island. There's another island with just goblins on it. There's a Joyous Wilds area, but it's all alone on an island. You can maybe build a bridge to that, maybe.
I had to look up to see if this is a thing in the string dump and thus not actually, like, revealing anything weird.
Then there's
I would like for necromancers to be able to properly, like, raise ghosts. That'd be fun.
Oh boy. Could they raise friendly ghost workers?
I don't think so. But yeah, there's like it's in the string dump. If you look at the interaction sources, it's right between resurrect and animate is raise ghost. I don't think it's actually a thing they can do right now, but it'd be funny.
Did you ever have have you ever encountered that bug where like ghosts think they're still alive even though they're dead and they operate as normal dwarves for a bit?
No, I'm not sure how that could happen. Most of the things that like check for ghost behavior or like check for normal behavior, check if they're a ghost first.
I think what happens is if they're undead and you tell them to leave the map, they used to come back as a ghost. I think that was like what would cause it to happen, because the only times I've ever had it happen, the ghost has been in the military. And they
share a unit ID.
Oh, no, it's when they leave the map and then air quotes, they die when they're off map as a zombie, I think is like the order of operations that needs to happen. And then when they come back as a ghost, and then they like just walk around and carry a sword for a bit and train until they just disappear.
That's odd.
I've absolutely had that happen, not in this version though. Although admittedly I haven't done too much with undead.
During testing, turns out ghosts are like the single worst thing you can have in your fortress. Like, I think it makes that's part of why slab usability is so important, because like unhappiness the single biggest cause of it I've ever seen is ghosts. People are extremely bothered by ghosts. I guess because they're like a consistent source of trauma.
Also, speaking of
It's like-
trauma, because Kraseki in Twitch chat just pointed this out, can we please have it set so that children do not haul refuse, clean, or haul corpses or bury corpses by default?
Yeah, that
Because everybody's
that-
always going on and 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 on about how psychotic their children are. It's like, literally just go into chores and disable burial and refuse hauling, and you'll have no problems.
that might be the first. The second issue is
It's literally just a toggle.
I thought about going into this and looking, but it looked like some like behavior changes that would be a bit much.
But, like, it's a setting in chores.
No, that bit's easy. Yeah.
Okay.
But also making them not like
Play in stockpiles.
play pretend where they stand. Like
Oh,
the instant they're
right.
done with the job, they just do it where they are. So if they're hauling corpses, they'll haul the corpse to the corpse pile, and then they'll just stand there among the corpses and start skipping around and occasionally looking at a corpse and screaming or whatever.
Yeah,
And
among
that's just
corpses,
goofy.
the Among Us sequel that nobody wanted. But no, I agree with you. I personally think that toggle should just be off by default. But I don't know. It's not like one of those things where it's just one of those things where I think most people just kind of learn around it eventually. But it is
I
a constant
suggest,
pain point.
I suggest a dwarven daycare area, but people would use that for
Well, I mean,
truly awful things.
you can suggest how to fix it to anybody, but the problem is the people who are already doing that are just like so set in their ways now. They're just like, well, I will never turn that off. It's like, well, then why are you complaining about it in the first place?
Well, I think it should be turned off. I think you're right about the corpse hauling thing. Like that should just be off by default. It's children genuinely just down spiral into forever stress as of right now, and that's kind of a problem. And they're basically the only ones to. But other than
Also
random
because they
citizens who
they
just
can't
like
proper because they can't properly craft if that player is also refusing to build guild halls because of people don't like doing what they're told. So when dwarves are like, build us guild hall, and then the player's like, yeah, nah, bruh. The result is you just get like children who not only are going insane because they're hauling all of the dead cats, but they're also going insane because they're playing on the bodies of the dead cats, and then they're also going insane because they need to like satisfy the crafting need or they need to learn something or whatever, and can't because they're refusing to build guild halls. So we need more incentives to build guild halls as well, is what I'm saying.
In my most recent big fort, I built a doctor guild hall early on, and this wasn't a mistake. I had more doctors than I knew what to do with, and in fact, eventually I started getting petitions for a diagnoser guild hall because I had so many of those.
That's
So
great.
I recommend guild halls. They're insanely strong.
Yes, start off with a guild. Like, the number of times it's like, okay, what kind of artifacts do you want to get in this fort? All right, build that guild hall right at the start. You want weapon artifacts? Make a weapon guild. You want armor artifacts? Make an armorsmith's guild. Like, that should be the first thing you make. Like, before you even, like, start digging. Like, just zone a guild hall and tell them to stand there.
Yeah, the thing is, like, hauling dead cats. This is like Dwarf Fortress isn't supposed to be like the Binding of Isaac or even RimWorld, okay? In terms of tone,
What, darkness levels? I mean, there's definitely, like
like
some...
it can be. It
there's
has the
some-
potential for it,
Yeah,
but I don't think it's supposed to be built that way. You know?
there's definitely some grimness in the world of Dwarf Fortress, but it's not like a nightmare factory.
Remove the feelings from the children. See, there might be a bit of a point to be made about that because, like, I don't know.
That's just regressing and removing features from the video game, and nobody likes that.
Yeah, but the main point is just that, like, children don't have much opportunity to have good thoughts right now. Like,
Well, they do.
that's the whole question of.
The children
Well,
were the
they play
happiest people
make-believe.
in my last fort because I just didn't have them hauling bodies.
If they don't have the poly, yeah, and like if you make sure they're around mist and such, then they'll be permanently happy or whatever.
Give
That's
them
all good.
toys, you know?
Yeah, use all your adamantine on toys. I don't
Yeah,
think
gold.
value actually matters for that.
I was just using
Gold, you know,
gold. I figured
gold toys. That sounds dangerous.
I figured it was like strength training, you know? Like,
There should
you
be-
want to play? Here's
You know,
here's
along
a
with,
transformer made of solid gold falls through the floor.
You know, along with like training weapon mishaps, like non-training weapon mishaps, sparring mishaps. That would be good, but also like you know, there's like toy axes. Children should like play with toy axes, and if you're making the toy axes out of gold, then they like
loses
you know,
an eye with a toy sword.
yeah,
Stab.
like you know they're using toy axes, and one of them breaks another's arm because because the toy axes you're making them out of gold because it's not a good weapon metal, but it turns out gold's really heavy anyway. So you know.
Also, in regards to the choice of being able to turn it off if everything is already falling apart, yeah, it is definitely possible to recover children that are far gone. It's absolutely possible. But
They're more possible to recover than most people who go that far.
Yeah, it's easier to recover children than it is to recover adult dwarves. I think like the methods of doing that just need to be clearer to the player. Also, what Plump on P said, which is with floodgates, the mechanisms are selected automatically by the closest one, and you can't choose them. Will we ever be able to choose the mechanism?
Oh, that's a yes. I don't know when, but that is definitely on the radar as like a. It's a bit funny. I like choosing mechanisms. I like using. Well, I mean, you know, at least partially because like a weapon trap with a really high quality gold mechanism and like 10
crypt beer.
silver axes or whatever in a noble's room. I forgot if that still works actually. Was that changed?
Which thing? Sorry, I'm renaming worlds.
Weapon traps for the purpose of value.
Oh yeah, no, that absolutely works. I mean, I had artifact weapon traps. Also, you can just infinitely stack stuff onto pedestals, so just put a pedestal in a room and stack like 80 gems on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Sam, thank you very much for the Prime sub. Sorry, I have to do the Twitch thing.
Need to display case and pedestal. Display case and pedestal limits. That would be eventual.
I feel like that should happen. Definitely. But I will abuse it until it does.
Yeah, it's not like quantum stockpiles at all, which are like very different. That's a logistics thing. This is just like weird.
I love it when I because I see this quite frequently is when people have suggestions for how to improve air quotes the mechanic of quantum stockpiles, as if it's like an intended mechanic.
Yeah, it's really it's been ingrained into the community harder than like aquifers being impossible to break through has been, which has been pretty ingrained, but like that one's sort of gotten a bit you know, pushed through. But the quantum stockpiles, that's never going away even if they're somehow fixed. And like fixing quantum stockpiles is in my head in the same region as like fixing the cave-in mechanics or whatever. Like it's the sort of thing that sounds like a really funny bad idea that should probably be off by default, or you know, adding a new economy or something.
I think I just broke the game. Because I renamed a folder and then just told Dwarf Fortress to open it.
That shouldn't be bad. That's not good.
Anyway, it's not responding.
Oh no.
Normally
Like-
I just restart the game, but
I mean, that's probably if it's still stuck. If it's stuck on opening file, then restarting is what I would do.
yeah, that's absolutely what I'm doing. I just think it's funny that I did
The
that.
yeah, as long as it's not corrupting the save, I guess it's not too bad, but it's still kind of bad.
I've already like zipped it, copied it, and uploaded
I'll,
the save file to Discord, by the way. So if anybody wants to go look at the save, I just generate.
If that's replicatable, I should try seeing what's up there.
Just try renaming a file and try opening it. See what
I
happens.
suspect it might just be trying to load the old name.
That's
That's
probably
my first
is.
thought.
That's probably all it's doing.
But yeah, like cave-in mechanics. And I say fix cave-in mechanics, I mean instead of floating islands, it'd do like you know, the entire finite element analysis to figure out the stress tensor on each tile, and if it's too much in one particular direction for the material properties of that tile, then it caves in. That sort of thing. Like, that's doable in the mechanics. That's doable sort of performance-wise, but it seems like a really bad idea. Like, that's the sort of thing that people would have no idea how to actually deal with, you know? Besides, just like, I just put supports everywhere, constantly, all the time. Like, my entire fort is support, floor, support, floor, support, floor. Like, that's how you would deal with that. That's sort of the problem.
The structural integrity thing's kind of funny because I was watching a stream Thursday, and I opened up the... It was a stream that was like said in the title that it was like for charity, like some sort of charity marathon thing. Not a lot of people watching, like maybe 15. And I clicked on the stream and I was listening for a little bit, and it was like this one guy playing, and then like 4 or 5 voices in the background kind of backseating him, telling him what to do. And then somebody very quickly goes, "Don't dig that room that big or it'll cave in." Just like sitting here going like, man. Some people really do have some institutionalized knowledge about how this game works.
Yeah, that hasn't been a thing since 2007.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm pretty sure that was removed from the game in like 09.
Was it 2007 or was it 2010? I don't remember. It was either 2.27 or 0.31.
It went away when the game was 3D. First,
Yeah,
so 28, I guess?
I think it was 2007, like late, which, man. But yeah, back in the... Like, that's another thought, just bringing back the 7x7 room caves in thing.
I liked how it did. I liked how it didn't do the RimWorld thing, because the way RimWorld works when you cave an area in is you dig it too big and it just instantly caves in, unless they change that at some point. But like in Dwarf Fortress, when you back in the day, way before RimWorld was even a twinkle in somebody's eye, if you dug out a space, it would take like a week to cave in. Like it would take days, so you wouldn't realize it immediately, and then like after I don't know. Like a week or two in game, like you just start having cave-ins, and you'd be like, "Why is it caving in?"
Yeah, the stress thing would have to be like, you know, it'd have to be delayed and all that, but it would be, and I guess there'd be signs like creaking or things. And see, you've got the problem with like, what if the caverns are like made of something that can't handle the shape of the cavern, and that's just horrible.
Yeah, I don't know if structural integrity is a good idea. Because, like, I think the only way that structural integrity could work is if it completely ignored the caverns. Because so many people really, really like using Advanced World Gen to have big, open, wide caverns. That, like, congratulations, everybody who wants an open cavern now is no longer a thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing, and, like, just a lot of... like mega projects would probably be like, whoops, you need to put a big wall on one particular spot or it falls over. Like sorts of things like that feature like adding stagnant air, and you have to have proper ventilation. Those sorts of ideas. That's how removing quantum stockpiles feels to me.
Shoutouts
doing
to
that
this
sort of thing.
Dragon that lives in the tall shaft. It's a lovely name for
Yeah.
a cave.
I like the 60 years the dragon spent just sitting there.
Just doing nothing, you know? There's actually, like, kind of a lot of hydras in this world.
See, stagnant air
And Bronze
like,
Colossuses.
what is it? Burning coal
Bronze
makes
Colossi.
like a lot of carbon dioxide, and you have to move that around and that sort of thing. That all sounds fun until it's not. Like, it would require, for one thing, it would require building in particular ways, and that's like really limiting how building could happen. That doesn't seem too fun. And like, obviously you could always have like magic, like the caverns are just filled with infinite air, so if you open up the cavern, then air whooshes out and there's just a constant breeze from the caverns to the surface. And we could bring back the thought of complaining about the draft, and this time it actually means what people think it does.
You know, there's actually a lot of dragons and hydras in this world. I'm surprised.
Yeah, well, how many are, like...
They're not
was there
dead.
a breeding pair at some point?
I mean, I don't see any of them with a born date, but there are male and female dragons, yes. But are they actively making more? I'm not sure.
Often you can just click a few, scroll down, see if there's...
See any family in that? It's dead.
One alpaca. Yeah, if there were simulated air and cave-ins, that'd probably be... I mean, you could turn off temperature. There's no way these, like, hilarious partial differential equation real-time simulations wouldn't be able to be turned off.
Yeah, I'm very... I have massive question marks about real-time simulation stuff because it's always okay, so how much is this going to wreck my frame rate?
Yeah, that's always the question, and
With
I mean,
what
I have
actual
experience with
gameplay
doing
benefit?
I have experience of doing it threaded, but it still have to be in lockstep with the simulation tick, so at some point, if it's taking too much time, then the simulation tick would have to wait for it, and that still kills your frame rate. Like, and a 16 by 16 map would just be dead, and that's not fun. So yeah, these things are like bad ideas. Like removing quantum stockpiles would be now. So that's the point I'm making. Massive cave-ins cause a bunch of lag because there's a lot of map changing. Map changing is generally pretty iffy.
Also, I will comment. Was there ever a change that made rocks make less boulders when you're mining?
Yeah.
Because going back to version
30...
47 and now version 50, it really feels like mining makes less boulders.
I think it's still 25% flat, like it was since 34.08.
Then it's probably just a placebo then on my end. The
like
dark
if it were reduced,
chestnut
you'd
brute.
see. If it were reduced, I think you'd see the metals from each individual ore increase proportionally. So if we like reduced it to 20%, it'd be 5 bars from each thing, which is all good. I don't think we need to reduce it. The effects of boulders on FPS are greatly exaggerated.
Yeah. It's just the loading of certain stock screens now.
There wasn't a version where mining always made boulders. It was dependent on skill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before 34.08, like higher skilled miners would make more boulders. It was a bit funny.
I didn't know that.
And like legendary meant 100% of your mining would get boulders, and people still complain about this to this day.
Huh. The Legendary Hell. That's a good name. Obviously, it's a goblin civilization. Naturally.
Turbis.
It's a gopher. A gopher fiend runs it.
Unspeakable Doom Festival, huh? That's a good name for a festival.
Honestly, I want to go to the next Unspeakable Doom Festival tour.
Oh, God.
Because honestly, seeing them open for Cannibal Corpse was great.
The incense burning, candles, images. You're right, huh? Yeah. I also this
sounds fun. I don't know, especially if they have snacks.
This gopher fiend looks pretty nasty. Actually, it's got webs.
Yeah, the gopher fiend is one of the only ones of its kind, a towering, noseless gopher twisted into humanoid form. It has a gaunt appearance, and its eyes glow scarlet. Its jade hair is long and shaggy. Beware its webs, associated with silence and jealousy.
What does a noseless gopher look like?
A gopher with no nose, obviously.
Like they
but
just got
you know what, honestly?
Slightly less bulge?
It's hard to say
nostrils?
because no one knows. Lots of journeying to the depths of the world and taming toads.
And taming
bears.
Toads and rats and bears and all sorts of...
Not a very murder-happy demon. I mean, it's only killed 32 things.
Thielu there seems interesting. Actually, you know what? Necromancer... There seems to be a Necromancer that's really active around the area because there's a lot of Wasting Slayers in this list. Like, I mean,
this world is 500 years old, so...
Yeah, but like it seems to be one local Necromancer. And it's a lot of the same, like, intelligent undead type.
I like the names. Dipped Cruel.
But you mentioned a 2,000-year world earlier. A pocket world, if you go for long enough, you'll find that like you can often get it to run like 100 years every second or something if it gets necromancered enough. It's great. And like maybe that'd be fun to play in, but if you're like really fond of getting overrun by undead upon the instant.
I was gonna assume that the Wet Kingdom was an elven civ, but no, it's humans. I mean, I suppose that checks out. They
I love
do
how
often
they
go
have all
whaling.
these useless like cupbearer and things. It's good stuff.
What, like different
Like,
roles that do nothing?
All these
Fumbus!
nobles that
Sorry,
are
Kobold
designed
names amuse me.
only.
Kobold names amuse me, and they're very fun to just shout randomly.
Sleep it, Luden. But
Yes. That
first
just sounds
hits, that's
Finnish.
a horrible name.
Fombus
But,
is pretty good. And they died to a mountain
the,
titan. They must have been right next to the mountain titan's lair. No problem, pun intentional. A noseless gopher is less cute than a normal gopher. The bent confederacies. The howl of heat. Oh boy. That's just a furry convention. Oh, of course the howl of heat is of the cat of scratches. What is the cat of scratches? An elven civilization? Okay.
How is that? Yeah, those are real unfortunate names. Wow.
They are the enemies of a dragon. That checks out. Cat of Scratches is a perfect name. What are you talking about?
Silvery dessert. Do we have the word dessert like with the same root as deserve? Because that'd be funny. Like in just desserts, which is spelled with only one S. It's horrible.
You know, I'm starting to think that this might actually just be a furry crew because like they have a place called Blush Fur, which is a forest retreat of the Cat of Scratches. This place seems dangerous. Best avoid.
The girdle of shells, the saffron of chairs.
And I think they all became monsters because, like, or rather, they're certainly getting attacked by these grim hunters, elven grim hunters.
Marmot devil, man, that Azstrog red runs the larval is it's got quite a Death Slayer.
I'm assuming you've grabbed legends as well on your end, or are you just like speed reading my screen because you're reading faster than I am?
Nah, I'm speed reading.
Okay.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of this Marmot devil here.
Yeah. There's also a kobold death slayer named Foldis.
22nd theft at Blushfur.
Who the heck is this? Marmot devil. It's one of the only ones of its kind, a huge one-eyed marmot twisted into humanoid form. Its midnight blue hair is long and shaggy. Beware its webs. What's up with these webs? 38 kills.
Webs actually make creatures stronger in World Gen.
Really?
Oh, all of the kills were in that one fight, huh?
Yep.
Yeah,
so.
a bit stronger. It's like not nearly as impactful as just being big, which of course, like Marmot Devil would be. But Web's Dragonfire matter.
This kobold is the eldest son of unpronounceable name and unpronounceable name, and that like had lovers, became a ranger, decided to become a thief operating out of Crumble Crack, the dishonest Ravager, and then actually has had a very successful thieving career.
Yeah, but then died at some point, surely, being a intelligent undead. Like a lot of thefts.
Like this is one of the most successful kobolds I've ever seen. I'm waiting for like a timed skip or something where they die.
Crumble Crack,
the dishonest Ravager. Died of old age in 186. So this kobold died of old age in 186 after an extraordinarily successful theft career, and then assumed the identity, the Decisive Tomb, after being brought back from the dead by a dwarf death slayer as a
the
death
identity
slayer.
is shown first.
So this must be a like necromancer death slayer named Tombsborn, which is good. And settled in
The
flags,
advantage
and then
of
became the
having
master of the problematic cloisters, and after that, went and fought and then got struck down. So that theft was actually before he died of old age.
Grumblecrack the Dishonest Ravager would probably be a fun cave to try to visit as a like an
Artifact
adventurer,
or
since all this
adventure, yeah.
crap is probably here.
So this group called the Problematic Cloisters was literally just this kobold zombie,
Because they took over Trust Flag, apparently.
which is funny.
These, like... Yeah, the advantage of having an apprentice as a necromancer is that if you ever die, your apprentice can resurrect you as a stronger, intelligent undead and vice versa, so now you're doubly immortal. Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, not having masterwork shown as much would be probably good. Like, if you have skilled dwarves, your legends entry and
Yeah,
your site's legends entry tends to be nothing but.
I think that in Legends, all we really need are more filters. Like, I think there just need... I have no idea how hard this would be to do, but if there was just the ability to filter out words, it'd be super nice. Like, if you could just type in a word and press enter and it would filter out that word. Like, filter out all lines with, I don't know, stolen or masterwork. That'd be very nice.
Filtering out is exactly as easy as filtering in, so it's...
Slow.
That's doable.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's so many things. How many thefts did this thing actually make? 36th theft at Sculpt Growled. Good lord. This guy...
Wasp Marks. That's a good name.
Wasp Marks is good. Also a forest retreat. Basically was stealing stuff from the elves the whole time.
Actually,
Sculpt
you know
Growled.
what? I
Also
should
forest
check
retreat.
the... Where was that? Save?
Silverstones! Also a forest retreat. Sorry, Formula 1.
I could check the save with like DF hack and look for like the poorest person or whatever. That'd be funny.
It's in the DF save sharing room on my Discord. If anybody wants to go download this save, you can. I literally just generated it.
Let me see if I can find that real quick. The Discord too, for that matter. Let's see. There it is. Save sharing. There it is.
Nothing but masterwork goose egg stew. Hey, you know, they just really had to write down the glorious history of that chef's cooking, okay? What else can I find? The Stormy Fiend is a pretty good name. The Goblin group. Checks out.
I don't think I see the save in here. Is it? Like in the DF save sharing?
I thought I tossed it in there. Oh, never mind. I put it in Dwarf Talk. I clicked the wrong room. That's my bad. But it's there.
Alright. Yeah, I've got some
Brigas.
DF hack magic I can
Much less successful,
quickly...
considering they died to a bronze colossus, from what I could tell.
So you put that in the save folder. Open it up. Try to remember what DF hack even calls this. Let's see, the Overseeing Realms.
That's always a problem I have with DF hack is what was this thing called again? I mean, I do actually have DF
Yeah,
hack
it's
installed, so I
doubly a
guess.
problem now because I know all the internal names for them and they don't necessarily line up.
The Amazing
Just-
Jaw. It's one way to refer
Actually,
to
uh-oh. How do I open the...
the Rolling Stones. The
Oh,
Noiseless Hammers. I refuse to believe that exists. Definitely a scam product sold on TV. The Noiseless
How do I
Hammers was a
open
dwarven group. Okay.
dang console? Uh-oh.
What'd you break?
Well, I don't know how to open the actual like separate.
Any reason why a king would
Is
become
the separate
king
console
again?
window even here? I can't open. I can't figure out how to open DFhack and Legends.
Don't you just hit the tilde thingy?
See, that's not doing anything for me.
No. Weird.
It's a bit.
Works for
It's
me.
a bit silly that I'm struggling with this right now.
How did they lose king in the first place? Ranger Ray. Oh, are you getting a notification saying so-and-so's became king? Is that what you're seeing? Because if that's what you're seeing, what's actually happening is they're not becoming king again, in air quotes. They are leveling up a skill. So the game behind the scenes is going, oh, this dwarf is now a mason. Like their new main skill changed, basically. So like their color changed. But then that doesn't actually happen. What actually happens is it just says they've become king. Because they're still king, even though they technically just gained a new skill and a new job. They didn't. They just became king. Because they're still king. So they're not actually becoming king multiple times. The High Kingdoms, my home. Human civilization, that checks out. Might as well just rename that to California. Columbus!
What?
They were in Hustle Gloom, the Blameless Pit.
How do I open? Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that'll happen a ton with your militia commander. If you have a militia commander who's a noble, every single time like you like station or unstation that squad, it'll do that. You can also see that happening with swords dwarves. It's like so and so became a crafts dwarf because they were a swords dwarf moments ago. The Big Haze. Wow, there's a lot of just straight up weed names in this world too. The Red Smokes. It just continues. I don't want to know anything about the stroke of handling. Thank you very much. The Coalition of Home. A bandit gang. Aw.
Okay.
The
GUI/control
Fist of
panel.
Dub Methigeki Mizbo Flickerfoot became the leader of the Coalition of Home. What the hell is that? Feathered, oh, I see. It's a feathered humanoid with 4 long, straight horns, black feathers, long and broad. And this night creature was first created by a human necromancer, Lon. That's just a hell of a name.
Figured it out.
Worships
Control
USA.
panel.
That's concerning. USA was a human god, Usa. Was most often depicted as a male human associated with lies. There's some unintentional commentary here. Any luck with the effect?
Oh, I got it figured out. Yeah. Whoops. So how many historical figures are there? I've printed them all. I should not have done that. There's 97,946.
Mhm.
I pairs. So I'm just gonna grab a random one and see if I can remember where its like profile is for all the fun stuff like the accounts. I think it's in skills.
I just
Yeah,
found
there it is. Skills.
the God-forsaken evils. A goblin bandit group run by a single goblin. I always love like those bandit groups. It's like it's a bandit group. There's one member. It's like self-proclaimed cult leader that never had any success. Not really doing an interview, just babbling. This wasn't planned, Martin, for whatever it's worth. The Heavenly Poems. Okay. I'm not even going to read that one out loud. These elves need to be stopped. No, it's a human group. Wow. you know, Putnam, I have a question. Why does Tard think that removing the word ass from donkeys is like what led to bad jokes and was too immature when there's things like this in this video game?
Oh.
Like,
What's this?
ugh. Although there's the funny thing about this, the human profane one became the overlord of this group is maybe like fitting. Oh, also,
Uh-oh.
this human, this human lives at a place called Virgin Helms, and Virgin Helms is the only location in this faction. Oh boy, you play DF on Steam Deck? I've heard good things about playing DF on Steam Deck. I don't own a Steam Deck, so.
It's a bit of a problem right now because there's this issue with SDL2 that makes it so that you can't use the
Aura.
keyboard input unless you like manually say, "Hey, I'm not playing on Steam Deck," which is silly.
That seems bad. Defiler, thank you very much for the 14th month. Welcome back, dude. League of Bodies is also pretty good. Actually has more than one member, unlike a lot of the other ones that I've found. I'm literally just going like through the depths of like the groups and civilizations to just find the things with dumb names. I feel like everybody just has different things that they go and look for in Legends, and for me it's like I'm looking for the just sins of vice horrors formed by a goblin.
Okay, so let's see. So the poorest person in the world is
Hello, Irish stupid.
Lasiv Ekshaksim.
How do you spell that? And
Lasiv.
Lasiv.
And then
How do you spell the last name?
Ecshaksim.
Found him. Male human,
Probably.
born in 63.
Yeah, that'd be the one. This is. Yeah, see?
Dat Pon Pon, thank you very much for that 10-pack of gift subs. You are very kind. Yeah, had childhood friends. Broke even trading a lion. From joystrokes to sneak unions. Did poorly trading an onyx. Broke even trading a Morian. Did poorly trading a Morian. Got divorced. Found a new lover. Did well trading Sard. Did well trading iron weapons. Got married. Did well trading iron weapons. Broke even trading onyx. Broke even trading lime. Did poorly trading pomelo and wood beds. Did well trading onyx. Did poorly trading Sard. Did well trading iron weapons. Did poorly trading yellow jasper. Fought in an onslaught and was struck down. I don't know. It didn't seem too bad. I was kind of hoping they would do poorly trading a couple times and then like get divorced afterwards.
Their account at the end was negative 6,184. The richest person was Damsto Ostnunatan.
I'm just really curious about this person's related historical figure, their child Burr, who apparently became a tomb butcher. Whatever that is.
Oh, they were chancellor for almost a year. Died of old age, 160 years. Wow.
Who's the wealthiest person?
Damsto Ostnunatan. Damsto.
And then the last name?
Osnunatan.
N-U-T-A. O-S-N-U?
N-U. Like November.
Yeah, and then the letter U.
N-U-N-A. The second one.
Male goblin.
Among these three.
So this is the wealthiest creature in the world?
Yeah, and I guess they're just really
became
good at
a merchant
trading.
in 179. Yeah, there you go. Became a member of the Company of Acting. They probably... I'd be willing to bet that this goblin is a SAG member.
See, just... Wow, a lot of iron. Made a fortune trading Morian near the bottom there.
Unlike that other human who did poorly.
Yeah, their account is at 770,000.
Personal wealth. Man, I want to be able to, like, in adventure mode, hunt down this goblin and then, like, blackmail him for money. Like, I want to be a highwayman in adventure mode. We got an SDL2 question in chat.
Let's see. Extension. No, it's a problem with how the base, like when it's loading the input part of SDL2, it checks if it's on Steam Deck and turns off keyboard input. That's literally what it does, because it just assumes that if you're turning on keyboard input, you want to put the keyboard on screen. Which, I mean, sure. And I did program it, and ended up programming the workaround in such a way that this is basically how it works. But it's iffy.
Yeah, no.
There you go.
Exactly.
They just got really good at trading.
Yeah, no, this dude's
point,
just
so
a
they
legendary
started-
trader. Yeah, he's just making a fortune on everything. Probably just like a really good liar and a really good appraiser too. But Neokai, like, what I want to do is I want to like figure out the name of a really wealthy like local merchant, and then just go around spreading rumors about them embezzling funds, get them arrested, and then blackmail them into taking their stuff. Like that's what I want to do. I want to be a criminal in Legends mode, but I don't want to go around killing everybody. I just want to like talk my way into being a wealthy individual without actually having to do anything.
Okay, they're a legendary appraiser, organizer, record keeper,
Checks out. Yeah.
judge of intent, intimidator.
This would be the
Negotiator.
goblin adventurer that if they show up at your fort
Liar.
and you make the mistake of saying, yeah, you can just stay in this fortress, they will immediately become mayor. Like instantly.
Also a legendary comedian. And actually skilled or adequate at intrigue. That's interesting.
Well, obviously he's a good comedian. I mean, he's like leader of the company of acting. Look at it. Made a fortune,
That's
made a
true.
fortune, made a 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 fortune. Like he's
And
just
what
making a
is
fortune.
acting if not lying? Oh, schemer. That's what it is. Yeah, they're an adequate schemer.
Uh-oh. In the year 433, Uches corrupted a fellow company member, Namatsu, in order to have someone act on plots and schemes.
Yeah.
Met with him, made a threat, and he spurred the law and agreed willingly. And then he plotted to infiltrate the Klein realms in order to prepare a coup.
No.
He made false friendships in order to extract information while still making like a fortune constantly. So there's probably your lying there, right? He's continuing to make a fortune. He's forming
That's
false
weird.
friendships with monster slayers.
What do you mean horse pancreatic tissue? I I know that's sweetbreads, but what?
Yeah, he's trading masterwork sweetbread like meals. You know, come on.
And sea otter lung tissue. I'm sure it like heals your diseases.
Definitely, yeah. No, it's for medicinal purposes, or whatever. Maybe they're making sausage out of lung tissue. I don't know how solid lungs
I like trading horse muscle. I think we call that horse meat over here.
More false friendships, long yam plants. Utes corrupted a human, Mubdung, in order to have an agent in fishkins. So yeah, like I guess they've become like a very, very, very skilled group of traders that are also coincidentally corrupting people in the process in places that they visit, and also still alive and at large. Oh, and Utes Portent Jackal was also a goblin, who was a trapper in Sunken Courage, born in the year 60 Nice.
Oh, also never got tied down by marriages because this goblin is not interested in marriage. I just checked that.
Oh, interesting. So our trader Komatsu here has never gotten interested in marriage. Has had many relationships though, but they don't tend to last for super long. Well, I say that 477 to 494 is, I guess, a bit of a time, but the goblin that corrupted Damatsu in early spring of 272 began accepting bribes in exchange for leniency as the baron of the wealthy group in order to sorry, let's try this again. Began accepting bribes in exchange for leniency as the baron of the wealthy group under the influence of Nako. The human honest met with Utes and made flattering remarks, and he agreed willingly, despite efforts surrounding allies to stop the plot. So it seems like they started participating in crime for a while. And then of the wealthy group, Utes of the wealthy group persecuted the Gory Black denomination in Kalkald, and had 100 or more people were expelled, and some sacred sites were desecrated. And they imprisoned a whole bunch of people and held them in the deep hatred due to religious persecution. So put a bunch of people in prison for their religion. Considering the gory black denomination, by the way, is a human religion, which is probably why I didn't like it. And they worship Gabe, the scraped star, human god of nightmares, the night and stars. Gabe Newell, the Cthulhu god. Can a humanoid die of old age? It depends on the humanoid. Goblins and elves are immortal. And dwarves and humans die of old age. So do kobolds. You'd have to ask Zach or Tarn that. Unless you happen to know, Putnam, why they decided to make elves cannibals.
I don't know at all.
I don't think I've ever actually asked them that. But they're not really cannibals. I would actually argue goblins are probably more cannibalistic than elves. Humans are only elves are only cannibals after battle. They eat the fallen dead.
Yeah, it's some sort of ritualistic thing. They
it's
don't
like a religious thing. They're not actively like just eating each other.
Don't waste parts or something, I don't know, except they also really don't. Well, you're butchering an animal for the purpose of eating it. I guess they don't like that. I think they think you ought to kill something you ought to eat something you kill, but you shouldn't kill something to eat it. I think that's the thing that's going on here.
Also worth noting, the Matsu, this goblin, is a member of the gory black denomination, and the goblin that corrupted him, their first real act was expelling and desecrating sites of people who worship that religion. So that's kind of interesting. Meanwhile, Utes here is worshiping the zombie Hydra. Who was associated with rebirth and muck and strength. So, good for you. What else this goblin did? Still alive. I mean, seems to just be doing wars stuffs. Just plotting to sabotage things, plotting assassinations, corrupting people. Interesting. Still, like, going after religious sites, too. Although he's yeah, no, he is literally just going after different like, just causing mass religious persecution, essentially.
Proper zealot.
And he's imprisoning them all in the deep just for holding deep hatreds. Like they all hold, everybody he's like expelling is just like held a deep hatred due to religious persecution. Like, people hate this dude. And apparently is currently ruling from the anguished citadel of the Fellowship of Sloshing, which is actually a human group. So this goblin is like running a human group and just like wreaking havoc, basically. Look, these are all people plotting to assassinate him. This might be one of the most wanted people in the world. Utist Portent Jackal. Divinity Original Sin, elves can eat a piece of someone and then they have the vision to learn what happens, so maybe like that. It's not an uncommon trope. I don't know, to me the elves are pretty similar to, like, it's not a great analogy, but they're pretty similar to, like, the Mayans in my brain. This guy's also got people embezzling funds on behalf of him.
Oh. Actually, I have a bug to check here.
Found a bug? Squish it.
Let's see. What was the name? Reg.
Oh, this is even funnier.
Translate.
So,
Name?
UTES here, from what I could tell, actually got expelled. Yeah. So he used to be a member of the Wealthy Group, which was a human civ. And the human Kothwar of the Wealthy Group persecuted the doctrine of juices, and UTES was expelled. So after UTES was like expelling and persecuting a lot of different religious groups because they were a baron, they themselves got expelled. Which is how they went and started a different faction. Or joined a different group. Because eventually they got expelled themselves, which is very funny.
Reg Glazehole, which, oh dear.
That's a name.
Is only had one lover, but he shows up twice. So, I wonder what's causing that. That's really odd. How many others are like that?
Found some fun goblins so far. The Sins of Grief. Let's see what else I can find. The Council of Virtue. The Council of Bunnies. Do tell me about the Council of Bunnies. Definitely a human group. Okay. The Kingdom of Ransacking defeated the Bronze Bows and placed a human in charge of vice, and the government was called the Council of Bunnies.
Wait, is this a problem with all lovers? Everywhere? Uh-oh. I just checked another one at random.
Wait, so what happens with lovers?
Oh,
The name
two I've
listed
checked.
twice is that the ungodly hell?
Yeah,
That's
but
also
it's
good.
listed twice because they're actually, like, lovers twice.
Huh.
Like, they're doubled up in the... Let's see, so...
It's like a...
What? There's too many breakups. It makes it hard to find good examples. But, like...
There's too many breakups, it's hard to find good examples. That's funny. Practical Coven.
I guess I could just, like...
I have to take a real quick toilet break. I will be right back. The humorous prison? Sorry. So, I just want to point out that we have the romantic tips right next to the faint whips. I guess the humorous prison, the romantic tips, and the faint whips are like, you know, first date ideas.
I'm finding more and more, and I'm trying to...
Figure out the cause of it?
Well, no, I'm just hoping it's not just gays. I'm hoping it's not just gay dwarves.
Chad has a point. There's a lot of like straight up UI elements that are missing in the ASCII version. Like, they mentioned the water wheel direction. This also extends to like the barrels menu, where like you can add and remove barrels, except the buttons aren't there. They work if you click the black square, but the button isn't there. That's something that needs to be looked at some point, I guess is what I'm saying. The Order of Dying. Well, do tell.
Okay, no. It's not just
The Order of Dian is a dwarven religion of the Enchanted Realms centered around the worship of Ossad, the dwarven god of nightmares and pregnancy. I mean,
Crypt beer, crypt beer, crypt beer.
you can see
It's
it.
not just gay. All dwarves, all lovers are apparently doubled up everywhere, which is that explains why they're doubled up in the relationships view. I thought it was a problem with the screen, but no. Apparently, it's a problem.
Nodokasa, thanks for the 8th month. Well, now that you're aware of it, hopefully you can fix it. We'll see you later,
Yeah.
Tochiyoke.
Like, it's not like a huge problem. Well, it's a bit of a problem in every dwarf. Like, I fixed it saying 2 lovers, but turns out I just papered over the actual problem instead of fixing the problem.
I really like this religion and god name. The Coven of Chucking was a human religion of the Enchanted Realms, centered around the worship of Ika, the Brilliance of Controlling, a human god of war and victory, war, and chaos. And it was formed in Hummed Romance. I read that as Hammered Romance, and I'm sad that it wasn't the way I read it. Faith of Oils. I'm into religions now, I guess. The Viper of Brutes. It was an amphibian man collective of outcasts. They formed in Groove Echo in The Invisible Night in Power Shot, which is definitely not a piece of photo editing software.
Oh, wait, I didn't know this happens. It should happen more. That's cool. Bowling Corporation and such. Like, it's one of the things I mentioned thinking about earlier, just having more, like, weird guys show up.
Nothing wrong with weird guys showing up. But also, you don't want too many extra names that confuse people. The Frothy
True.
Cult, the Mangy Cult, the Bulbous Armors. The Covenant of Bothering. Isn't that a Monty Python bit? Bother. Or am I, like, mixing that with something else?
It sounds familiar to me. I think it was.
It's a Reptile Man collective of outcasts. They formed in Rust Deep in the depths of Hoisting in Fame Bothers.
Might be Neil Cicierega.
Covenant bothering my people. The Adorable Sabers. The Creed of Combat. Okay. Is there assassins in it? They do worship the human god of war, though. Human religion. Just a bunch of PlayStation fans. You did see the Bite of Volcano. There is like 3 or 4 volcanoes in this world, because this is a brand new world that I just generated. The Faith of Dung. In Dung we trust. They worship a human god of deformity, disease, and death.
Deformity gods tend to have really good names.
The Faith of Dung?
Like, yeah. Like the
I mean,
Faith of
it is
Dung.
pretty good, yeah. Held Simplicities, Tons of Society, Old Company, Cult of Castles. That's pretty good. Very small elven religion who worships a human god of youth and rain. I really wish that when you closed a tab in Legends, it didn't open the nearest tab, it opened to the last tab you had. The Divine Council. Definitely a unique name. It's a human group of outcasts. It's not even a religion. That's a shame. A Fellowship of Earth. Uh-huh. They believe that Earth exists theory. Wow, it's a human religion. Human god of hunting, fishing, and justice. Fanyogs, thanks for gifting a subscription. Also, so that
hunting and fishing are nature.
it's a pretty good name as well. I don't know. I'm pretty keen on this world. I'm scared of the pregnant celebrations. The Dread of Luster. right next to the pregnant celebrations. I'm sensing a connection here. The Dread of Luster is literally just a gang with one goblin in it, self-described gang leader, and the pregnant celebrations is a bandit gang with a human in it. What greater justice than fishing? I mean, true. The Cult of Nightmares was also one people pointed out earlier. Which is the Cult of Nightmares is a human religion of the Enchanted Realms centered around the human god of USA, or USA. The human god of lies. Turns out quite a few people worship the human god of lies. The Furious Band. Okay. It's about family, clearly. It's run by a goblin vampire, which was formed the Furious Band in the Breakfasts of Hopper in Praise Seals. Took up residence there and became captain. And they fully incorporated into the Wretched Moon, which is a reptile man collective. Cool. Get the escorted cult. So are you just trying to figure out the source of that bug then?
No, I've been like...
Or are you digging through
still
stuff?
going through Legends a bit, but the... Yeah, okay, so let me see how... So it's lovers in particular, nothing else, which does help. So it's probably just going to be some duplicate somewhere.
There's some like double line of code. Something repeating. It's going to take a while for me to scroll through this whole list. The mechanism of cacti. So the mechanism of cactus is a dwarven group. That's pretty good. Not a dwarven civilization, just a group. The Beaches of Purity. You know, the Beaches of Purity sounds like a Catholic all-inclusive resort in some tropical place. I really wish that the legendary hell was a dwarven civ and not a goblin civ, because the legendary hell is a fantastic name. Beaches of, it's true. It's not a Christian vacation spot. It's definitely midsummer.
There's a comment here.
Yeah.
Will happen twice. That is fine.
Will happen twice.
Sorry.
That's fine. Well, at least that's very Tarn.
At least it's acknowledged. So, okay, no, it shouldn't be happening twice, even here. Like, I mean, maybe? It
But
should
it's
just be adding
fine.
it once to each. It is fine. It acts the same either way, but why is it happening twice? I actually, the code doesn't look like it ought to be doing that.
Maybe just gave up, moved on to the next thing. Like I said, very, very Tarn-ish. It's probably like something that he stumbled upon while working on this version and then just kind of gave up.
It
Or
might
just
be
decided
older.
to do something else. Might be longer? No. Well, I don't know.
Wait,
Can you
wait,
conquer
wait.
them and make them dwarven? It's not quite how that works. I could take all their sites, but I wouldn't get the name.
Okay, there's another thing where it can happen during dwarf mode. And if it happens in fortress mode, then it would be because of the thing. Like, there's two places where it can happen, once in Vol'jin and once in fortress mode, and both do the same, like, double adding. It adds one to the first unit, then adds the same link to the second unit. And I think that's causing the double add because it's checking, like, back and forth or something.
What do you
I don't
suppose
know.
the Society of Tummies would be? Definitely like a produce distribution thing, right? Recently
Hopefully.
gotten into Dwarf Fortress and my tutorials have been saving your ass. Well, happy to help. You can just type in ass in my chat. You don't have to censor yourself. It's okay. We are all big kids here. We can read the word ass. Tis totally fine. Society of... Oh, true. Yeah, it's definitely a belly dancing class, right?
See, yeah, it does make 2 listings, one from A to B and one from B to A, but I guess it's listing both of them. But, like, no, it's not, because there's actually 2 listings in... Each historical figure has 2 lover listings for each lover. So what the heck? Why is that happening? That's the mystery. Oh! Oh! I figured it out.
The Eureka moment happened.
It's doing it with both. It's so it's actually adding it to both for both of them. Like both of them are getting. Like it goes to the first one, and then it adds the lover to the first one and the second one, and then it goes to the second one, and then it adds the lover to the second one and the first one. So that's the problem.
Huh.
Well, so that's what it means by will happen twice. That is fine, but it's like, I don't know. It displays funny,
It does display funny, but...
but it isn't actually a behavioral problem because the game just acts properly with it anyway. Like it doesn't change. It shows like I've fixed basically the only actual display issue from it, so I'm not sure this is actually too much of an issue.
I like how some human decided that they were going to name their civilization the Large Empires. They just, like, went off with, like, massive ambitions, I suppose. They still exist, so the Large Empires.
Gotta think
Done
big.
well. The Large Empires almost sounds like some sort of startup. It's like the Embracer Group.
Lays off 80% of its employees, sold to Google for $1 billion, lays off the other 20% immediately after. That's large empires.
Yeah, pretty much. Something that's sold to Google. And then Google shut it down 6 months later. The Labor of Brass was a dwarven group. Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through factions in Legends. I'm scared to click on the Wet Midnight, but I need to know it's a goblin group. Okay. Scourge of Knots founded vice horrors of the Wet Midnight. All right. Well, good for you, goblins. Band of Beasts.
The first artifact in this world is a steel spear. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that is a good sign. Neokai, thanks for the $1. Appreciate you.
Perfect Pete.
But yeah, chat, if you guys want to ask Putnam any questions, for those of you who don't know, the other voice that I'm talking with is Putnam. Putnam works on Dwarf Fortress. This wasn't planned. This is impromptu. But if you guys want to ask her technical questions about Dwarf Fortress, now's a good time to do that, because I can never answer those questions. The Brave Summer is a good name, though. The Trite Thief. It's always a goblin group.
Nice.
Brave Summer was an elven group. I mean, now would be a time that you can yell about your weird pathing issue that you had, Ranger Rick. But you also said that it kind of fixed itself, so.
Skip saving under. Yeah, that I've noticed this. It's a bit funny. It's a bit goofy.
Yeah, because you used to be able to just abort the world, right? Like it would just be like abort.
I think so.
I think was the what the button was A for abort or whatever. And then when you'd abort, it would just like delete the world instead of like saving it. It was like a quit without saving equivalent. Actually, I wonder if you can quit without saving. Doubt it. big is the change log for the new update looking? Do you guys even keep
Oh.
a change log?
Well, sorta.
Or
I don't keep track of it.
gonna say I feel like that's probably something Tarn's keeping in a notepad document. One of my favorite like change things ever was actually for the premium version, which was made too many to write down. Just like, yeah.
That's basically how what was it? 40.01 was, but managed a bunch anyway. I forgot how Lua is.
Oh, the save crash? Well, I mean, you ask Putnam, don't ask me.
Triple nerve damage.
I think like what Celesti's referring to is like, you know how dwarves can lose the ability to grasp. They made it now so that they can drink, right? So like dwarves that can't grasp can drink, so they don't just starve to death or die of thirst. But now the result is they just hang around in the tavern and then eventually become naked because they can't equip clothing.
That makes sense. Also unfortunate, but it makes sense.
Unless they
I mean,
were a
it should be
military
fixed,
dwarf,
but it
and
makes sense.
then they just can't take their armor off, so they just end up wearing armor eventually. But they still get like the negative thoughts of, oh god, my clothing rotted off my body. So maybe we'll get a fix for that alongside of like the procedural healing stuff that was talked about in that last post, which I'm very curious to see, but I'm kind of under the assumption that none of that's actually been worked on yet. Oh, as far as orderlies changing them, I mean, like we're gonna be getting editable default jobs, so the arguments of what job does what will finally be solved.
Yeah, though I mean, I've told people already, but like, you shouldn't have to find random posts by me to figure out what is what.
I mean,
Like,
that's literally how it currently is, right? The Symmetric Midnight. It's Twitch chat. It's Goblin Group. Checks out. They founded Hell Listens, which is a good name. Hell is listening. You have a sad barkeep who has no hands, can't find any fulfillment in his life. I usually I make them into scholars, generally, and just let them think. Waxy Boats of the Lens of Weather. Ooh, I found a necromancer. Was actually the outpost liaison in year 1 of the Lens of Weather. Became a necromancer pretty quick. Actually acquired a slab right off the jump, the very beginning of the world. Acquired a slab in the year 17. Assumed the identity of the Grizzly Lilac. Learned the secrets of life and death. Started corrupting people almost immediately, starting off with their spouse to act on plots. Met with them and made a threat, and the plan failed. Yeah. Began embezzling funds. Aroused general suspicion in the year 60 after appearing to not age. Fled to Rock Inc. I'm sorry. Or Rock Kink, I guess, technically. But depending on what type of rock you're doing. Anyway, they became a poet after, like, taking part in a foot race.
Let's see, how many people... Okay, there's a bunch of people with exactly negative 5,000 to count, and I think all of them just gambled once, lost a fortune, and that's their entire financial history.
That's probably a lot of people in Vegas. Eventually, this necromancer becomes what most necromancers become eventually, which is just taking part in wrestling competitions and not winning. Has one notable kill and 20 other kills. Was eventually struck down in the year 358 by a human. After being hired to fight. Wait, what? actually won a battle axe throwing competition. For once, they're having a throwing competition that makes sense. Human Necromancer won. All right, chat. I think I'm gonna boot you out of the call now, Putnam, and we're gonna start this fortress up.
Alrighty.
But thanks for the little discussion. If there's any final things that chat wants to yell at you, I'm gonna give them like 90 seconds to do that. But,
All right.
yeah, it's good to talk, and you're totally welcome to just barge in here just about any point, whenever you want. If you have something specific you want to talk about, or if you just want to yell at chat for a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna go start this fortress up.
Check that save, probably, with the weird pathing thing, because there's occasionally, sometimes like path abilities it's updated properly, and that's usually the cause of that. But why it's updated improperly, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. Are you talking about Ranger Rick's weird pathing issue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that fortress that Ranger Rick's building is like a huge underground carved out thing with like probably some pretty crazy pathing going on to begin with, so.
Yeah, that sort of thing might cause weirdness.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me too much. Anyway, booting you out of the call now, so it's good
All right.
chatting. Till next time. Cheers. It was like almost a 2-hour call. It was we started it at 10 o'clock and it's now 11:50. So damn, there you go. You guys got impromptu babble call. Guess I get to edit that for YouTube tonight.